Welcome back to the show. I got a good one for you today. So, we are doing the Find Your Heart Challenge. I've been talking about it for the last few weeks, and it has been so much fun to actually see the drivers of what happened that we sat the bench. Like to be able to see what caused that in real time and not even try to fight it. So, Find Your Hard is about getting off the bench. If you're a survivor, if you're a go getter and you got a little soft, you went on a little healing journey, and somehow society or yourself or life or anybody, anything told you to settle down, slow down, be still, but you're not liking the results, it's for you. So that was just a little recap. So today I'm talking about FOMO. And I don't mean fear of missing out, guys. I'm talking about fear of moving on, because that's exactly what's happening when you find your hard. Moving on is getting up off of the bench, getting back in the game. Moving on is disappointing people who don't want you to move on. Disappointing people, places, things that used to bring you something that no longer do. Disappointing the norm. Does that make sense? So fear of moving on is a real thing. And today I'm going to talk about the symptoms. What does that look like? What do I mean by fear of moving on? Where am I getting this from? And listen, I've taken a lot of time and deep contemplation to take this next jump. And part of it was making decisions in my personal life. Part of it was getting another place in another state. Part of it was leaving the environment. And another part of it was I'm leaving the environment so that I can do something different in the current environment, in the environment that I was in. Does that make sense? So I didn't like abandon ship. I moved on in the degree that I quit waiting for something in the environment to change. And instead, I changed. I changed the environment. Now, whenever we're coaching someone, we don't typically say, you should get out of the current environment. You should change things. You should actually stay until you have done everything possible. Confront what even seems impossible before you make that decision. Well, just so you know, I put in my 30 years. So it was not a quickie decision. And the fear of moving on is in your nervous system. And so symptoms will come up. Like for me personally, I developed a sinus drip and a cold. I have a client that hit a wall, got a black eye, big bunker on her head. Like when I made the decision to move on and to quit banging it out, quit begging, quit like trying to make something in the environment change for us to get what we want. When we made the decision, like, no, I'm just going to go get what I want. I'm just going to change the environment. Well, there's still a little bit of residue, which is just like leftover belief, right? Or emotion still tied to the other identity. And we subconsciously draw these things up without even knowing it. Guys, if you've ever done something big, or, maybe you've done a challenge, you've lost weight, you've made a lot of money, you've done something, you've achieved something. And you've said things like, every time I get ahead, this happens. Dang it. As soon as I got the promotion, I did a consult with someone very recently that got the job of her lifetime. And within a couple of weeks was bedbound. That's what I'm talking about. The physical manifestations, the physical conditions in the body show up as part of the fear factor. Listen, it could be woo to you. I'm just telling you my experience. I'm telling you what happens with a lot of highly driven entrepreneurs and business owners. This stuff is repeated over and over and over until we get it. So some of us, refer to it as TMS, the mind body syndrome, tension myositis syndrome. Like there's other names. Dr. John Sorno is like the originator of TMS. There's different degrees of the concept and principles that apply. My work is mixed with Louise Hay, subconscious work, understanding the nervous system, the emotional body. And I put all of these experiences together from my trainings, whether that came from massage or yoga or meditation or hypnotherapy or like these different degrees, right? Different degrees, different, like if you looked at a chart of tools and there were like list of like, this is the mind tools, these are the body tools, these are the energetic tools, these are the somatic tools, the metaphysic tools. Like there's different degrees of these tools from way down here, even on the emotional scale, to way up here, which is potential and possibility. So when I talk about degrees, it's often misinterpreted and I'll get some defense from that. So I want to be really clear about what I'm saying today. Fear of moving on happens when you've made the decision that you are no longer going to tolerate, going to agree to, going to have the considerations that you've had in the current life. To whatever degree that is to you. It could be your own personal body. It could be your money. It could be your relationships. It could be your spirituality. Many of our clients were indoctrinated either by the environment, by their families, by their church, and it was just keeping them sick and bound. And when they made that break, they had to move on from what was. They had to move on from this norm to them. And so the best advice I have from anyone, and you very seldom hear me say advice, but in this case, I'm going to use it. The best advice I have for anyone listening to this or anyone that you think should listen to this, which you could just share, don't worry about what anybody else says it does. We are so unique. We are so individualized. Take everything as a grain of salt. Believe nothing, question everything, and then decide for yourself what works for you. So when I'm doing integrative mind-body coaching, I am not telling someone what to be. I'm helping them be what they already are, that they are not being. In other words, they are different than the family they were brought up in, or the place that they work at, or the church that they've been in. They are different, but have been stifling that difference in order to fit in, and have now found themselves sick and struggling. And when we get down to the layers of realizing what it is, it's always based on fear and worry about like hurting other people or leaving someone behind or disappointing someone, not belonging, not being a part of the tribe. It always comes down to that. That's just how we are humanly, genetically engineered. We are a soul being with limitless potential on a spiritual level. But we live in a physical world, which is limited with boundaries, with indoctrination, with agreements, with labels and titles and degrees. And so we have this soul purpose. Some of us, maybe not all of us, some of you may be like, I freaking love getting drunk every night, going to the beach, getting bombed, I'm cool. I love you. I think you should. That's great if that works for you. Just notice what you're arguing with or listening to or agreeing with. Not everyone is going to agree with us. So you practitioners that are listening to this, it's okay that they disagree and want something else. I love them because they make my world colorful. I just don't want to be them. And it doesn't work for me. I was that. I did that. I put in my 24 years of medications and diagnosis and surgeries and hell. drunk every night, smoking, slamming it down. Yeah, it worked when it worked. It worked until it didn't. Those were my tools. They were my devices to be able to live in this world. Like I needed them when I needed them. And when I didn't need them anymore, they quit working and they had an adverse reaction. So instead of making me feel happy and excited and functional, they began to make me feel heavy, lethargic, depressed, sick. I was having physical reactions from the tools that had worked so beautifully for so many years. So, this is nothing to do with a judgment or with a moral or what I think you should or shouldn't do. This is everything to do with the way that my body and my life responded to the things that I was doing. Period. I liked being drunk. Super fun. I am hilarious when I'm drunk. There's nothing I won't do. My family, not so much. My friends, not so much. Not whenever it got a little edgy and dangerous. But for those who spent those 30 years with me, oh my God, did we have a good time? Yes, until it didn't work anymore. So I had to leave that behind. Fear of moving on. When I quit smoking, I lost friends who used to come sitting on the porch and smoke. When I quit drinking, I lost friends because we no longer vibrated at the same frequency. We didn't have the same things in common. We didn't have the same needs and desire. I didn't want to stop and take a smoke break. I wasn't always thinking about where can I go smoke. Back in the day when I smoked, we could literally smoke in food places. Like there was no limitations. I remember going to Weight Watchers, going to Pizza Hut, and we would like eat and drink and smoke inside a Pizza Hut. And they changed the laws around the time, right at the end of this. And we were outside freezing, smoking, like fun times. It was fun when it was fun because those tools served me. And I had to deal with the fear of moving on. I had heartbreak. It was sad. Those were my closest friends. And then it wasn't. And the way that we relate, the relationships that we're in with people, typically have things to do with our habits and behavior. So whenever your kids are in school playing sports, your friends or other moms who have kids playing sports. And then when that era is over, some of those friendships stick, most of them don't, right? And then when you are the grandparent, there's a different common denominator. There's a different frequency, a different vibe, a different agreement. And when you're drinking, when you're not drinking, when you're smoking, when you're not smoking, when you're taking drugs, when you're doing whatever the thing is that you're doing, when you're running a marathon, whole different lifestyle. For me, it was yoga. Whenever I started yoga and I had become like really aware of my body, the way that I was feeling, my surroundings, and being able to hold some of those poses, you do not want to do that with a hangover. I could not teach yoga with a hangover. That's how it started. I was like, dude, I cannot do this on Thursday night anymore because on Friday morning, when I'm doing down dog, I'm wanting to be dead dog. Like I just want to die. That's kind of how it started. And then not long after that, I started like I would drink a glass of wine and I'd have hot flashes. I couldn't sleep through the night. I like things just started happening. And the consequence became worse than the pleasure. I hope this makes sense. That fear of missing out, fear of moving on, kind of the same thing, but not really. Missing out is, I didn't get invited. I didn't get to go. I don't belong. I'm not going to get what they get. I'm going to lose the deal, the bargain. But the fear of moving on, it's hard because it's your choice. It feels like if you haven't done the work, right, the mental and emotional work, it feels like you're leaving people behind. You know what I mean? And that's what makes it hard. And so the physical symptoms that show up when you decide to step out the box, pull off the label, become something new and different, those could look different. It could be your vision. It could be something with your hearing. It could be shoulder pain. It could be low back pain, feet, knees, hips. Very often when you're in the middle of moving forward, but part of you has not come along, then maybe you'll have things in the SI joints, low back insecurity show up as sciatica. I had a big bout with that for 16 weeks. Couldn't walk or sit. And then whatever else manifest in material form that's trying to slow you down, keep you down. I know it sounds like these adversaries are made up, because I hear myself when I say it and I'm like, what if I'm making that up? There's so much evidence around this. An adversary is a conflict, an opponent, a dispute. And that can come from your own subconscious. Matter of fact, you're in this whole game of life alone. It has nothing to do with the other person. It has nothing to do with the environment. It has everything to do with your attachment. You wanting to control an outcome and other people. Everything to do with the attachment. But once you realize, holy smoke, this is TMS. This is the mind-body dysregulation. My mind is thinking one thing, my body is doing another thing, my soul is doing another thing, and I'm split. And it makes the day-to-day activities harder. So what? Don't quit. Recognize it. Don't give in to it. Feel the discomfort. Do it anyway. Feel the discomfort. When you pause, you feel the chronic pain. You feel the dis-ease in your body, in your life, in your relationships, in your finances, however it shows up. When you feel that dis-ease, the lack of ease, just go towards it. Don't run from it. Don't try to shut it down. Don't turn it off. Let's call this exposure therapy. Go closer to the discomfort instead of resisting it, instead of pushing it away, instead of trying to fight or argue with it. Just go with it. Thank you. This part of me that's afraid to move on, to be left behind, to be ridiculed, to be shamed. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for caring. I'm going to pause. I'm going to allow that part of me, conscious or unconscious, to integrate so that I am now back into position, mind, body, soul. My soul expression, right? That's it. Your soul is just expressing. Your body is carrying you through the physical world and creating a physical experience with others. And your mind, you can control and get it on board. And once you have your mind and your soul and your body all aligned in the same frequency, wanting the same things, then you'll start taking steps towards that. You will confront the fear of moving on. You'll confront the physical manifestations. You'll confront. So instead of running from them, you go towards them. I can see how that's true. I can see that I'm afraid. Oh, I can see the concerns, why that worries me, because it's very unfamiliar to not know what's going to come next. What if no one's there? What if I'm all alone? What if I lose that and have nothing else to replace it? Yeah, those are valid fears. That is fear of moving on. And yeah, you're probably going to miss out on some things. You're probably not going to be getting invited to some things. When the relationships change, the invitations change. But here's the thing. What's more important to you? That you lose something that you're not aligned with, that you lose something you really don't want to do anymore, or that you lose the potential of who you're becoming? What's more important? That you lose their validation or that you lose your validation? That you lose their recognition or that you lose your recognition? Which one's more important to you? Like, if you really think about it at the end of your life, what mattered more? What someone else thought about you or what you thought about you? Now, I'm probably older than many of you. And so I've had a lot of time to experience and to think about this. I had to have those experiences to come to where I'm at today. And I realized 50 something years later, living someone else's life is never the answer. It didn't work. It didn't work because it's not actually you. So, my question to you for this week, would you rather have your own approval? Would you rather have your own back? Would you rather protect your purpose and your potential? Or would you rather fit in being what you are not in order to pretend like you feel like you belong? What is more valid for you today? And listen, no right or wrong answers. Go get you a margarita. Go hang out. Go do the thing that makes you feel good. You get no judgment from me. If I could still be in that phase, hell, I probably would. And that's the beauty of life, is it's always bringing what we need. I did not ask for a deadline when alcohol would not feel good anymore. No, I never thought I would be someone who was not drinking alcohol ever. I did not plan on that. But somewhere, somehow, a part of me knew that it wasn't the best thing for me. Right? All right. I'm going to give you that to think about for the week. So, is that showing up? Is it physical? Are you having physical symptoms? Are you seeing old injuries come back? Maybe you are down with allergies or a cold or whatever it is. As long as you know you are at cause, there is no problem. Even I was saying, like, oh, I was in Vegas and we were in a smoking casino. And almost every year, the 7 years that I have been to this event, I have come back with a fever, with a cold, with a drip. Like, and I was like, again. And so I could blame it on that, but I could also blame it on me. He keeps putting myself in that position. Like, I did that. I made the decision. I booked the room. I booked the flight. I booked the conference. I got there. Like, I chose that. And so when we take full radical responsibility for what we're doing, even the injuries, like my client that hit the wall, like, why did she do that? She did that. Consciously or unconsciously, she did that. She created that. She caused that. Happened to be on the left side of the face, happened to be a black eye, right? What are you afraid to see? Or where is this fear of being seen? Or, it's coming from the past. It's coming from stuff. It's coming from that side. We have really stepped out and started talking to a lot of practitioners, mind body practitioners, hypnotherapists, as well as massage therapists, or anybody who's doing change work, and talk to them about integrative mind body coach training, and also to talk to them about how to make more money doing what they do, getting their work to the world, because we feel it's a very important time. So as soon as we make the decision that we're going to blast it, that we were going to go out there, we knew. We didn't think it was going to happen, but we somehow somewhere knew, because now that it's happening, we're like, oh yeah. So it's not that I'm going to say it doesn't exist. No, it exists. Like, I literally have a cough. I have a drip. I have a fever, and it does exist. It is real, but it exists because I created it to some degree, on a certain level. We create it. It's the best news ever. Now it's no one else's fault. So the fear of moving on is also your creation, and you get to keep it. What if you are afraid to move on? What if it is uncomfortable? What if it is scary? What if you do it anyway? The horror question is, what if you don't do it because of it? That's really the scary question. And that's what I can say is, I gave 20 years trying to make people agree, make sure that I was valid in their eyes, that I said what they think. No more. Now, you got to do what you got to do in the time you got to do it. Things are always changing. Just this week, think about where you may have fear of moving on and how it's showing up. feel free to come into the coaching works group or send an email or however you want to contact me. Share this if it makes sense to someone that you care about, and give me a rating and review if you want to help us reach more people. I hope you have an amazing week. And just know it's okay to move on. Some people may surprise you and come with you.